What do CEOs need to know about sales these days? A lot. Outdated sales strategies and tactics plague most companies today. Listen to what innovative CEOs and experts have to say about how to change all that with Sales Talk for CEOs. Welcome to Sales Talk for CEOs. I'm glad you're here. I have a very important topic today. I want to talk to you about your pipeline. I call it a funnel. Most people call it a pipeline. Either way, what I'm talking about is all of the opportunities that all of the sellers at your company are working on and what stage they're in and advancing them, right? So, as a CEO, what do you need to know about this? Well, you need to know a lot about it. Now, you're not the one who's going to be necessarily managing this pipeline unless you are the leader of sales also, which in some cases you may be. But here are some things that you really need to know that are important. And I'm going to dive in pretty deep here because I want to give you the specifics so you can pass it on, if you're not the one doing it, to the people who are doing it. So the first thing that we want to talk about is, how do we organize all of these opportunities? Well, we organize them in some sort of CRM, customer relationship management software. And that could be a bit of a disaster, to be honest with you, because CRMs weren't really built to be a pipeline. They were built to contain data, names, addresses, phone numbers, and notes from meetings and things like that. But okay, over the years, they became the pipeline or funnel also, the place where we keep all of the opportunities. So they are what they are. They don't work all that well sometimes, though, without real human intervention. So they're not just plug and play in most cases, especially in Salesforce. We really have to customize in many of these CRMs the way we want our pipeline to be. So let's talk about what it looks like without really being specific to any one CRM, because you could do this on a spreadsheet. What we want is for a salesperson to let us know when they have an opportunity. So the first thing we need is a clear understanding at your company of when is a lead turn into an opportunity. And this is so messy, and I'm not really clear why, but every company I work with, this is just messy. When does a lead become an opportunity? Well, in some cases, it depends on the salesperson. A lot of them like to sandbag, and they don't want to put those opportunities in too early because, let's face it, not all opportunities close, and they will have a higher close rate if they wait longer to put that opportunity in. So we really have to have clear guidelines. It becomes an opportunity when these things happen. So we've got a list, right? We work that, marketing's working that list. We have a trade show list. We've met people at different places, whatever it is. We've got these lists, right? Then we nurture these lists, and some people become aware that we exist and can solve their problems. And they actually develop some interest, and they're either communicating with us by email or on social media or by phone, yeah, or our own chat on our website. But they've started communicating with us, so we know there's some interest. So is that an opportunity or is that a lead? It's not clear cut for the whole world, but it should be clear cut at your company. And I like to say, when one or two people from a company have expressed interest in your solution and want to talk to a sales rep, it's an opportunity. Now the sales rep has an opportunity to either move that forward or decide that it's not qualified to move forward. Two options, right? It either is moving forward or it isn't. Now, it can move forward a little bit and still then be, not an opportunity. Or it can move forward for a while and either become a closed deal or not. So we want to track carefully how many opportunities we have. And if salespeople are waiting until they've had 3 or 4 conversations with the prospects at a company, then we're not getting good data because they're in conversation talking about your solutions. They have an opportunity to sell something that should be represented in your pipeline or funnel as an opportunity. So that's the first place to check and see what's going on there, right? Because the reason I like to call a funnel is there should be a lot of these opportunities at the very top of this funnel, right? A lot of opportunities, and not all of them are going to move through. That's why we need a lot. And when I think of a pipeline, I think of this little skinny thing. And I know you think, well, keep it flowing, right? But I'm just dropping a few little things in it at a time. I want a whole bunch of things at the top. So a lot more can flow through. And that's why I like to think of it as a funnel. So we have all these opportunities that are opened where salespeople are actually talking to buyers who are interested. Now that seller has an opportunity to say this is qualified or this is not qualified. Or the buyer has an opportunity to say, not a solution for me. See ya. That's fine. It's close lost, right? You lost it. No big deal. We're going to lose a certain percent. Not everybody we talk to is going to buy from us. And then we can analyze those. Well, they weren't the right size company. They weren't really our ideal customer, or they were our ideal customer. What did we not communicate well enough? What kind of experience did we give them? What happened that they didn't want to move forward with us? So we can analyze those very early stage opportunities that don't move forward to the next stage, right? They don't move down that funnel. So that's where we want to start and focus and look at, because many companies right now are struggling, one, to keep their pipeline full or their funnel full enough, and two, to close enough deals. And sellers aren't hitting their quotas. So when they're not hitting their quotas, it can only be, one of a couple of reasons. One is they don't have enough opportunities to hit their quota, or they have plenty of opportunities, but they don't know how to work those opportunities well enough to get them to close. So if you don't have good information on your opportunities, you'll never know which it is. That's why this is so critical. All right, so they put the opportunities in. Some move down the funnel, some don't. That's okay. We will want to analyze the ones that don't move. We also want to analyze the ones that do move. Why did they move? Were they our ideal customers? Did we explain the value well? What are the things that made them continue to move forward? Now, as we're watching these opportunities go through the pipeline, in some companies that can be months or even years. So it takes a long time sometimes to watch these move through, but we've got to keep watching them and analyzing. And so I want to talk to you about how to do that on a periodic basis. Now, I use the word periodic. I didn't say quarterly. I didn't say weekly. I didn't say every 6 weeks, because I don't know. For your company, it's going to be different. It depends on the length of your sales cycle. If you have a longer sales cycle, you shouldn't be reviewing the pipeline from top to bottom all that frequently, because things just don't change that fast. But when you have a shorter sales cycle, you'll want to do it more frequently. So if you think about, okay, what is our sales cycle? What does our funnel look like? How often should we review it? So I'm going to talk about a big issue that I see with companies focusing in the wrong place. And this is why they're struggling and their forecasts aren't correct. So when you look at your entire pipeline in that period that makes sense, right? Then you should be looking at the entire pipeline, from everything that's being prospected, turning into opportunities, everything in the middle, and everything that's coming out the bottom. You need to look at the whole thing, and it should have the shape of a funnel, because that's what makes a healthy pipeline, right? Is when that shape is there, that funnel shape, because you have enough coming into the top to get the output you need on the bottom. If that's the case, right, you can't just look at the month or the quarter. And that's the big mistake. Too many CEOs and sales leaders focus so much on getting deals over the finish line at the end of the month or the end of the quarter that they continuously have that problem and have to force or try to force things to close at the end of the month or the end of the quarter. Whereas if they had a longer view, they wouldn't have that problem, because you should be always looking several months ahead, several quarters ahead, to keep those deals moving so they're naturally just closing in the time period. But keep this in mind. Close dates come from customers, not quotas. So if you are putting in close dates, you have to ask the sellers, where did you get this close date? Did the customer agree to it? Otherwise, you're never going to get a clean forecast because you've got misinformation in the pipeline. So the amount needs to be verified by the customer, and the close date needs to be verified by the customer. Otherwise, you're doing these pipeline reviews and you're not getting accurate information, so you're not going to get an accurate forecast. And as I mentioned before, you have to look further out. You have to look several months out, several quarters out, depending on the length. Now, the other big mistake I see people make when they're reviewing a pipeline or a funnel is they're doing deal reviews during the funnel review. No, deal reviews are done separately. We find what deals need to be reviewed by doing a pipeline or funnel review. So as we look at all of the opportunities that a given seller has, then we can see if the shape of their funnel is healthy, and we can see what needs to be done to correct it if it's not, and we can make sure the flow is really good. Then we can also find some deals that might be stuck or need some help or need a team applied or need a senior executive, and we can go and do a deal review on a separate day and time and dig into those opportunities to find out what's happening and plan a better approach. We don't stop during the actual pipeline review and talk about each deal. First of all, it takes way too long, and secondly, it defeats the purpose. So overall, is our funnel pipeline healthy? Are things flowing through it? Are we winning, losing? Do we need to stop and do an analysis of what we've won and lost? That's another separate meeting. But we have to take a look at the whole picture and then figure out what win-loss reviews we need to do and what deal reviews we need to do, and dive into those separately. So if you need help with your team doing these pipeline reviews, funnel reviews, whichever you call them, I'd be delighted to help. It's something that I love. As you can tell, my passion about it. It needs to be done well so you, as the CEO, your senior team can forecast, right? And once again, it goes back to customer experience. When your pipeline is moving along well, when these deals are moving through and flowing, the customer's probably having a really good experience. When things are stuck, things aren't going well, things keep falling out, I'm betting that your customers are not having a great experience. So give me a call or send me an email and we'll chat about it. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.